everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bilikis. How you doing? Hope you've been good. I have, and it's good to be back again. Yeah, and guess what we'll be making today? An infinity dress or top, depending on what you want. It depends on your preference, and trust me, it's going to be very beautiful and you're going to love every bit of the tutorial, because I'm going to be showing you step by step on how to do that. So I already have the fabric, the measurements needed. We'll go over it one by one. Before we get started, if you are interested in our sewing tools and our online classes, which we have every month, they are detailed, and trust me, you love every bit of it. Just contact us through the contact number in the description box below. Yeah, you will love it. So please follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures, and on Facebook, Sewing Innovations. Right now, let's go over to the work table. We will be making use of her mannequin here. Yes. So let's go over. Quickly go over to the measurements required. As I've written on it, infinity dress measurement. First, you need the waist measurement. Our waist measurement is 34 inches. Then the bust measurement. You might be wondering why I needed this. That is for the width of the infinity tie. So our bust measurement is 41 inches, and the length of the skirt is going to be 24 inches. So now, going over to how to calculate the amount of fabric needed for the waist area, because remember, the lower part is the skirt and the upper part is the infinity tie. So how to calculate the amount of fabric for the skirt now? You will need your waist measurement times 2.5. That's the minimum you could do, though it depends on the fabric available. So now our waist measurement is 34 inches times 2.5, which sum totals to 85 inches. I just quickly had to write the 90 inches because I will explain that now. So remember, we have 85 inches, meaning your waist measurement times 2.5. So, and this 85 inches is just a little less than 2.5 yards. 2.5 yards of fabric equals 90 inches. So instead of just using lesser than, I'll just approximate it to 2.5 yards, meaning I'll be using 2.5 yards. Now, going over to the width of the infinity tie on the upper part. That is why I inserted the bust measurement, so it is required here. Her bust is 41 inches. So how to calculate the width is bust divided by 4. Our bust measurement is 41, divided by 4 will give us 10.25. So that will be the width of the infinity tie, 10.25, but I can just make use of 10. So now, to calculate the length of the infinity tie now, since I'm making use of 2.5 yards of fabric, I'm just going to make the length 2.5 yards. The width is 10.25, while the length will be 2.5 yards of fabric. So we will still make use of that 2.5. So don't worry about that. I'll teach you how to cut it out. So now let's go to cut the fabric. I have my 2 yards of fabric here. So what I did was to fold along the width. So this is the length of the 2.5 yards, while this is the width. So I folded here. So the first thing I have to do is to cut out the length of the skirt. Remember, the length of the skirt is 24 inches, but I'm going to need 1 inch to hem the lower part, then half an inch to join this to the infinity tie, the band and the infinity tie. So that makes a total of 1.5 inches. So 24 inches plus 1.5, that will give me 25.5. So what will I do? Having folded this over, then I will now have to measure 25.5. So here I have 25.5 for the lower part. This upper part is shorter, which we are going to use for the infinity tie. So what I will do again, going over it again, 25.5. Can you see? So measuring it now, I'm going to make sure I folded 25.5 all through. Then I'll get my scissors to cut it from this point all down, and then this lower part will be for the skirt. Then we can now cut this out for the infinity tie. So first, let me cut out the 25.5 inches by 2.5 yards. I've cut it all out now. I have my 25.5 inches for the skirt length by 2.5 yards. So the remaining fabric now, I'll teach you how to cut the infinity tie. The leftover fabric from the 2.5 yards we cut out. So what I did was to fold it into two, so it will be easier for me to cut. Going back to the measurements, the infinity tie width is 10¼ but we are going to add extra ½ inch to both sides, so that's 1 inch. So 1 inch now plus 10¼ will give us 11¼ or approximately 11½. First I will have to check what I have left from my fabric. So here, luckily I have 23 inches, so half of that is 11½. Meanwhile we needed 11¼ so that is fine. So that means we'll have 11½ for 2. So what I'm going to do now is to fold it over. Can you see that? So now I'll be having 11½. Can you see? So I'm just going to cut through, take my scissors to cut through all down to have 2 pieces. After cutting it up, this is what I have. Can you see? So one piece looks like this. Can you see how long that is? So 2 yards by 11½. So this will be for one of the tie, and this other one will be for the second tie. Can you see that? So let's cut the waistband and then start sewing it up. I cut out the band and I'm going to explain how I cut it out. Remember the waist measurement is 34 inches. Then you need to add extra 2 inches to that for seam allowance and the overlap for the hook and eye. So instead of 34, I will be cutting out 36 inches. So let me show you that, 36. So can you see what I have, 36 inches. Now coming to the height. I want the band height to be 2 inches, but I will need ½ inch for the upper part to attach the infinity tie and ½ inch on the lower part to attach the skirt, making a total of 1. So 1 plus 2 will now give me 3 inches. Here now I have 2 pieces. You might be wondering it is not a folded one, but I will explain the reason why. Here now I have 3 inches. Here too I have 3 inches. So now let's start sewing up the dress. The fabric we cut out for the skirts, the 25½ inches in length, and the width is 2½. So before I explain the sewing part, in case you want a pocket, what you have to do is to fold into 2 equal parts, slit one open, keep one aside for the front panel, and the remaining one just slit into 2 equal halves, which will be for the back. Then you can have your pocket by the side. So since I don't want a pocket now, what I'm going to do is to take to the sewing machine, put your stitch to a gathering stitch, that is the longest stitch on your sewing machine, and then run it from the beginning here to the other end, and then we'll now have to gather it up to 34 inches in the according to the waist measurement. So let me quickly do that. I've sewn the ties, the infinity ties, so it's 2. So let me just explain with 1. Looking at what I have here, the first thing I did was to hem the 2 sides, the opposite side. Remember we have raw edges, so I just folded in 1/4 inch, then 1/4 inch again, and then I sewed it all down, also for the other side. Then I took one part here, can you see, and I closed that hole, so that would be the hand that will be loose. So coming to the other side here, what I just did was to run a loose stitch, the way we gather the skirt, over this other side, because the little excess we have, I will just want to gather it up. So that was why I did that. Can you see? So when we get there, I'm going to explain that. So having done that now, I'm going to get the waistband. Remember it is 2. I actually want the tie to have its own band at the upper part, and this lower part will be attached to the skirt. So the first thing I will do is to close this up and get the midpoint. Then I'm going to notch. So that's the midpoint. After doing that, I'm going to open it up, or better still, while still closed, I'm going to divide the hip measurement because I want to get the side, because the tie is going to start from the side of the skirt. So 34 inches is for the waist. So that divided by 4, because this is on fold now, that should give me 17. That should be 8.5. So 8.5 is going to be here. It's going to be here. To make it easier, I will also notch. Good. So after notching it now, so once I open it up, this is the center front, these are the sides. So I'm now going to take one of the tie center front, and then this is the side. So this is going to start from the side here, and then we are going to overlap it in front, in the center front. We overlap it by 3/4 to 1 inch. So from this center point, you are still going to come out by 3/4 inch or 1 inch here. And then when this other one is coming, it overlaps to this side. So what I will do now is to start from here and then pin it down. So the excesses now, you can see it in the middle. All the excess is in the middle, so it will form like a cup. So now coming to this side now, this is the center front. I'll just make sure it's overlapped by 3/4 or 1 inch. That's what I have here. So all the ease extra should be in the middle. Let me pin that down too. That has been done. I'm now going to take the other one. What I'll do again is to gather it up and make sure it's at the center. What I'm going to do next, I've pleated it here, can you see? So I'm going to start from the side again. So after pinning it, then I'll make sure it overlaps by the same 1 inch I did here. So that means it should be something like this. To remove the pin on the lower part since it's now overlapped, so I can now release this to adjust it. So it has been adjusted, then I'll pin it down. So that's it. Can you see what I have? So this is what I'm going to have at the end of the day. So what I'm going to do now is to place this other one on it. I'm going to place it on it this way. Can you see? So I'm going to repin it, removing this and then repin it all through. I've repin it all down and then sew 1/2 inch, as you can see. So this is what we want to have eventually. Can you see that? Isn't that beautiful? You see, so I'm going to give it a good press before I finish the sides. So can you see? So you want to have something like this and like this. So that was the excess of the overlap and then the gathering. So can you see that? So after giving it a good press this way, so I'm just going to fold in 1/2 inch with my pressing iron on one side. Then on the wrong side, I'm going to close 1/2 inch on both sides. After ironing it, then I just folded in 1/2 inch. Can you see? Then I had to turn it to the wrong side again to sew 1/2 inch while this is folded. I will now have to bring it out. So this is what I'm going to have. Can you see? See what I have. So this will be used to finish it on the outside, and then the inside you have also a knit fabric. So that was why I used that method. So let's go to the lower part. the skirt to be 35 inches. Remember the waist is 34, so I just added extra 1 into it because I'm going to use that to finish the sides, sorry, the back, because this will be the back now. What I'm now going to do is to make sure I match everything up. So I'm going to leave 8 inches to 9 inches for the zipper. And you see between 8 to 9. So I'm going to sew from there straight down, just half an inch, because that was what I left. So from the 8.5 to 9, straight down half an inch, and then I'm going to fix in my zipper. And after that, will I hem the lower part. The side of the skirt has been closed up. As you can see, the zipper has been fixed. And I hem the lower part. The next thing now is to attach the infinity tie that we have finished initially to the skirt. First, you note the midpoint on the infinity tie. So with the notch here, I know this is the center front. So that's the side. Also here, to get the center front, this is the back. So this will be the center front. And that's the notch. So first I want to pin that. I'm just going to turn it towards me here. So this is the infinity tie, so it's going to be attached this way. This is the right side of the skirt, the right side of the tie. So since this is folded in, which is going to conceal all the raw edges, I'm going to move that upward. Then attach this very one to the point whereby we notched initially. Can you see? So that's both the center fronts. I'm now going to just pin that down. Okay, that's good. Then I would love to turn to the back, because I need some explanation to give here. Now this is the back. So we have secured the front. The next thing I'm going to do now is to come over here. This is the edge, and this band is half an inch more than the measurement we have here. Remember, we left half an inch for the hook and eye to have something like this. Although you could attach your belt, then make the zipper up to the end, but I just prefer to have a hook and eye. So the next thing I'm now going to do is this. Remember, we have attached this way. So taking it now, this is the right side of the band and this is the right side of the skirt. So just make sure it's facing this. So starting to join the band, I will leave just half an inch on the band. So this is the band. I will start after half an inch to attach this. So you could open the zipper. Can you see? Don't forget the half an inch. So you will have to sew it all down to match the center front and back, so you could adjust the gathers. Make sure the center front is not altered. That was why I pinned it down. So at the end of the day, we want to have something like this. Can you see that? Can you see? All this will be concealed. Can you see? The first thing now, I'll go back to my sewing machine to sew all this down. Can you see? Just pin it down. Take your time to pin it down. I'm going to sew it all around. I've sewn the band to the skirts. So this is the center front is still intact. Then to the back. Wow, it's looking beautiful already. So this is what I have. The next thing now is to close it up. So looking at this, all I have to do is to make sure all the seam allowance is in the band. Can you see? Yeah. So can you see it's so neat now? The seam allowance inside. So looking at it on the wrong side, you have a very neat finishing, and also on the right side. So you are going to pin it all down and make sure everything is covering all down. So taking it back to the sewing machine now, I'm going to sew very close to this edge, the folded part of the band, like 1/8 of an inch, all around till the other one here. Make sure everything is folded inward. Can you see? So let me quickly do that. Finish sewing up the band, and you can see I have a very lovely infinity dress. So this is the tie. Can you see? So both the inside and the outside end. I fixed the hook and eye, as you can see. So the zipper is intact, as you can see that. So in the inside we have something nice, and also on the outside. So you can see this type of band is better. Can you see that? So this is attached to the skirts, and this is attached to the tie. So it's just lovely. So I'm going to give it a good press and then put it on the mannequin for you to see, because we actually made it for her. So on the back, this is what the back looks like. Can you see that? So let me put it on the mannequin. The dress is ready, and you can see it's so beautiful, isn't it? So looking at it, it is just so wonderful. So I'm just going to make one way of tying it for you to see. Although after this video, the next video will be on how to tie, the different way to tie your infinity dress. So you can see the overlap won't make your boobs open. So that was why we did the overlap. Can you see? So it's just beautiful. Let me quickly make one. So first I'll start with this and then roll it up. So looking at it, the boobs is covered. And look at the side. It covers the side boobs too. You don't want it showing too much. So I'm just going to fold it up. And the same thing to this side. Can you see how beautiful that looks? So you could just, make it a one look wrap, and you see that it's beautiful. So that's that. And you see, so I could just make it a bow in the front, or still rotate it to the back, either one you want. You see that's so beautiful. So if my tutorial on how to make this has been very helpful, please give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I remain your girl Bilikis. The next video will be on how to tie the infinity dress. Different ways to do that.